Welcome, dear friend. Tonight, there is nowhere you need to be. Nothing to finish. Nothing to solve. Nothing waiting for your attention. The day has quietly come to an end, and now the night offers you something simple. A moment of peace. Before tonight's story begins, make yourself as comfortable as you can. Allow your shoulders to soften. Relax your jaw. Let your hands rest wherever they feel most comfortable. Take a slow breath in through your nose and gently breathe out. There is nothing you need to finish tonight. No messages waiting. No places to be. For this little while, the outside world can quietly fade into the distance. Tonight, our journey leads us high into the mountains, where winter has transformed the landscape into something calm, silent, and beautifully timeless. Far from busy roads, far from glowing city lights, a small wooden cabin waits beneath a blanket of fresh snow. Its windows shine with a warm golden light, offering comfort to anyone who finds their way there. And tonight, that traveler is you. The drive into the mountains begins just as the last colors of sunset disappear behind the distant peaks. The sky slowly deepens into shades of sapphire and midnight blue. One by one, the first stars quietly appear overhead. Snow has been falling since late afternoon. Not heavily, just enough to soften the landscape. The winding mountain road stretches gently ahead. Tall pine trees stand silently on either side, their branches dressed in fresh white snow. Your headlights glide across the quiet forest. For a brief moment, they illuminate the falling snowflakes before each one disappears back into the darkness. There is no rush. The road is quiet. You are the only traveler this evening. The heater inside the car fills the air with gentle warmth. Soft, instrumental music plays so quietly that it almost disappears beneath the peaceful rhythm of the journey. Outside, winter moves at its own unhurried pace. Inside, you begin to feel yourself slowing down too. The higher you climb, the quieter the world becomes. The sounds of the town are long behind you now. There are no traffic lights, no crowds, no bright signs. Only winding roads, snow-covered forests, and the peaceful silence of the mountains. After another gentle turn, you notice something in the distance. A warm, golden light. Small at first, almost hidden between the trees. You continue driving slowly. With every curve of the road, the light becomes clearer. Soon, the outline of a cozy cedar cabin begins to appear. Its windows glow warmly against the snowy landscape. A thin ribbon of smoke rises from its stone chimney, drifting lazily into the crisp winter air. For a moment, the cabin looks almost like something from an old storybook. Quiet, welcoming, untouched by time. A gentle smile appears without you even realizing it. You know, before you've even arrived, that this is exactly where you're meant to spend the night. The road narrows as you leave the main highway behind. Now, only a single lane winds gently through the forest, its edges softened by fresh snow. The tires roll quietly over the white surface, leaving two delicate tracks that slowly disappear beneath the steady snowfall. The deeper you travel into the mountains, the more the world begins to change. Streetlights become fewer. The distant glow of the town fades completely. Even the sky seems darker here, allowing thousands of stars to shine with remarkable clarity. The forest feels ancient. You lower the car window just a little. A breath of crisp mountain air slips inside. It carries the clean scent of pine needles, cedar bark, and fresh snow. A fragrance impossible to find in the city. You take a slow breath. The cool air feels refreshing rather than cold. It clears away the last traces of a busy day. The winding road climbs a little higher. To your right, the trees begin to open, revealing a breathtaking view across the valley below. Moonlight rests gently on the snow-covered hills, turning them into rolling waves of silver and white. The landscape stretches peacefully toward the horizon. No buildings, no traffic, only mountains, forests, and the quiet beauty of winter. You slow the car almost to a stop, not because you have to, but because some moments deserve to be enjoyed without rushing. For a little while, you simply watch snowflakes drift lazily across the windshield. A faint breeze moves through the treetops, creating a soft whisper that blends naturally with the peaceful silence of the mountains. Then, far ahead, another warm light appears. Closer, this time. It glows softly through the trees, like a lantern waiting to guide you home. You know the cabin cannot be far now. A quiet feeling of anticipation settles over you. Not excitement, not urgency, just the comforting thought that, in only a few more moments, you'll step into a place filled with warmth, gentle light, and complete stillness. You start the engine forward once again. The cabin grows a little larger with every gentle turn of the road. Its windows shine like tiny stars against the snowy hillside. The chimney releases a slow ribbon of smoke into the still night air. Somewhere inside, a fire is already burning, waiting patiently for your arrival. And for the first time in what feels like a very long while, you realize that tonight is not about reaching a destination. It is about enjoying every peaceful moment along the way. The final stretch of the road curves gently around a hillside. As you round the bend, the cabin comes fully into view. It sits quietly beneath a canopy of towering evergreens, as though it has always belonged there. Warm amber light spills from its windows, glowing softly against the untouched snow. A stone chimney rises above the roof, sending a thin ribbon of smoke into the calm night sky. Everything about the little cabin feels peaceful, unhurried, timeless. You guide the car onto a narrow driveway, where fresh snow muffles the sound of the tires. The engine grows quiet as you turn it off. For a brief moment, there is complete stillness. No humming traffic, no distant voices. Only the gentle hush of winter surrounding you. You remain seated for a moment, simply listening. Snowflakes land softly on the windshield. Some linger for only a second before melting into tiny drops of water. Others remain, sparkling beneath the moonlight. You reach for your coat, wrapping it comfortably around your shoulders before opening the door. The cool mountain air greets you once again. It is crisp and wonderfully fresh, the kind of air that encourages a slow, deep breath. You step onto the snow. A quiet crunch follows beneath your boots. The sound is soft, almost delicate, quickly disappearing into the stillness around you. Above, the sky is filled with countless stars. Without the glow of city lights, the constellations appear brighter than you remember. They stretch from one horizon to the other, like tiny lanterns scattered across velvet. You take a moment to look up. The world feels impossibly wide, yet instead of feeling small, you feel peacefully connected to it. A narrow stone path leads from the driveway to the front porch. Small lanterns line each side of the walkway. Their gentle golden light reflects across the snow, creating a warm path through the winter night. With each slow step, the cabin feels more welcoming. Not because it is grand, but because it feels cared for. Someone has swept the porch earlier in the day. A simple evergreen wreath hangs upon the wooden door. Its fresh pine branches carry the faint scent of the forest. A tiny brass bell rests beside the entrance. It sways ever so slightly in the evening breeze, though it makes no sound. You smile. Some places have a way of making you feel at home before you've even crossed the threshold. This cabin is one of those places. You pause on the porch for a final moment. Behind you, the mountains rest beneath a sky filled with stars. Before you, warm light shines through the frosted windows. You gently place your hand on the smooth wooden door. The brass handle feels cool against your fingertips. Beyond it, a quiet evening of warmth, comfort, and rest is waiting. And with one slow, gentle breath, you turn the handle. The door opens with the gentlest creak. A wave of comforting warmth welcomes you inside. The change is immediate. Outside, the air had been crisp and cool. Inside, everything feels calm and inviting. You step across the wooden threshold, closing the door softly behind you. The quiet click of the latch seems to leave the winter night outside, allowing only its peaceful beauty to remain beyond the walls. The cabin is lit by a collection of warm lamps and the steady glow of a stone fireplace. Their golden light fills the room without ever becoming too bright. It settles gently across the timber walls, polished floorboards, and exposed ceiling beams, giving the entire space a timeless charm. You slip off your boots and place them neatly on a woven rug near the entrance. Tiny crystals of snow melt slowly, leaving small droplets that quickly disappear into the warmth of the room. A wooden coat rack stands nearby. You hang your coat and scarf, noticing the faint scent of cedar that lingers in the air. It mixes with the comforting aroma of cinnamon, vanilla, and freshly split firewood. The fragrance feels familiar, not because you've been here before, but because it carries the quiet feeling of home. The fireplace burns steadily at the center of the room. Instead of large flames, glowing embers radiate a soft amber light, while slender tongues of fire dance lazily between the cedar logs. The gentle crackle is never loud. It blends naturally with the quiet atmosphere, becoming part of the cabin's peaceful rhythm. Near the hearth, a comfortable armchair waits beneath a knitted wool blanket. A small oak table stands beside it. Resting there is a ceramic mug, releasing delicate curls of steam into the warm air. The simple scene feels less like a prepared welcome and more like a quiet invitation to slow down. You walk toward the window. Outside, snow continues to fall across the mountainside. The lanterns along the path now glow softly beneath a fresh layer of snow, their light becoming warmer as the night grows deeper. The forest beyond remains calm, its tall pines standing silently beneath the moonlit sky. You rest your hand lightly on the wooden windowsill. The room behind you is warm. The world beyond the glass is peacefully cold. Together, they create a perfect balance. Comfort within, winter beyond. For a few quiet moments, you simply stand there. No thoughts demand your attention. No plans need to be made. The journey through the mountains has come to an end. A different journey is about to begin. One measured not by distance, but by stillness. Not by time, but by quiet moments of comfort. You turn back toward the fireplace. Its gentle glow seems even more welcoming now. You can already imagine settling into the armchair, wrapping the blanket around your shoulders, and listening to the peaceful rhythm of the evening. For now, you simply smile, grateful to have found this quiet place beneath the snowy mountains. A place where the world moves a little slower, where every breath feels lighter, and where the night gently invites you to rest. The mountain has welcomed you. The cabin has opened its door. And as the fire glows quietly in the heart of the room, the perfect winter evening is only just beginning. For a few quiet moments, you simply stand near the doorway. Not because you're tired, but because the cabin has a way of asking you to slow down. The warmth settles around you like a favorite blanket. The air carries the comforting scent of cedar, vanilla, and freshly baked bread, as if the cabin has been patiently waiting for someone to arrive. A cast iron kettle rests on the corner of the fireplace. Its gentle simmer adds a soft whisper to the room, blending naturally with the quiet crackle of glowing logs. The sound is subtle, comforting, steady. You wander through the cabin at an easy pace, taking in the little details that make it feel so welcoming. An old wooden shelf displays handmade pottery, each piece slightly different from the next. On a nearby table, a small vase holds a few dried winter flowers, preserved long after autumn has passed. Nothing here feels perfect, yet everything feels exactly right. Near the kitchen window, a single candle flickers softly. Its reflection dances across the glass, where delicate frost has painted tiny, fern-like patterns around the edges. For a moment, you pause to admire them. Each icy shape is unique, created quietly by the cold mountain air. No artist could ever make the same design twice. In the cozy kitchen, copper pots hang neatly above a wooden counter, polished smooth by years of use. A loaf of rustic bread rests beneath a linen cloth. Beside it sits a small jar of wildflower honey, glowing like liquid gold in the candlelight. The simple scene carries a quiet charm, not luxurious, not extravagant, just warm, honest, and wonderfully peaceful. You fill a ceramic mug with hot herbal tea. Steam rises slowly, carrying the gentle fragrance of chamomile and a hint of mountain mint. You cradle the mug between your hands. The warmth spreads through your fingers, inviting you to linger just a little longer. Across the room, a large window frames the snowy forest like a living painting. Outside, Fresh snow continues to settle across the branches of towering pines. The moonlight gives every tree a soft silver outline, while the stars shimmer quietly above the mountains. The view never asks for your attention, yet somehow it keeps drawing your eyes back to it. You settle into the armchair beside the fire. The knitted blanket is soft against your shoulders. The chair fits you perfectly, as though it has welcomed countless peaceful evenings before this one. You take a slow sip of your tea. The warmth, the quiet, and the gentle glow of the fire blend together so naturally that the busy world begins to feel like a distant memory. For the first time in a long while, there is nowhere else you would rather be. Only here, in a quiet cabin, on a snowy mountain, wrapped in warmth, while winter quietly paints the world beyond the window. You walk a little farther into the cabin. Every step feels slower than the last, not because you're tired, because the quiet invites you to move gently. A long wooden table stands beneath the window. Its surface carries the beautiful marks of time. Tiny scratches, soft, dense. Each one tells a quiet story of winters long past. In the center, a single candle burns with a steady flame. Its warm light dances across the polished wood. Beside it rests a small bowl of pine cones, a few dried orange slices, and a sprig of rosemary. Their gentle fragrance blends with the scent of cedar drifting through the room. It feels comforting, simple, real. You run your fingertips lightly across the edge of the table. The wood is smooth, warm from the fire, comfortable to the touch. Across the room, a bookshelf catches your attention. It isn't large, but every shelf has been thoughtfully arranged. Old novels, travel journals, nature guides, collections of winter poetry. Their worn covers suggest they have been read many times. Not quickly, but slowly, one peaceful evening at a time. A small leather bookmark rests inside one of the books, as though someone paused their reading and promised to return tomorrow. You smile quietly. There is something reassuring about unfinished stories. They remind us there is always another peaceful evening waiting. Near the bookshelf, a wooden rocking chair sits beside a floor lamp. A thick, knitted blanket is folded neatly across the back. Its soft texture almost invites you to sit down. Not yet. First, your eyes wander toward the large picture window. Beyond the glass, the snowfall has become lighter. The clouds begin to drift apart. Little by little, more stars appear overhead. Moonlight spills across the untouched snow. The entire forest seems to glow. Not brightly, just enough to reveal its quiet beauty. One snow-covered pine stands a little closer than the others. A tiny bird lands gently on one of its branches. It remains there for only a few moments, then quietly disappears into the peaceful night. The forest returns to complete stillness. You wrap both hands around your warm mug. The gentle heat reaches your fingertips. Outside, winter continues its quiet work. Inside, time seems to slow with every passing minute. And somehow, that feels exactly right. The kitchen is small, but every corner feels thoughtfully cared for. Copper pots hang from a wooden beam above the counter. Their polished surfaces catch the firelight, glowing with a soft golden shine. A cast iron teapot rests quietly on the stove. The water inside has long since stopped boiling. Yet the kettle remains pleasantly warm. Next to it, a glass jar is filled with homemade oatmeal cookies. Another holds roasted almonds dusted with cinnamon. Simple comforts, prepared with care. You choose a single cookie. It breaks with the gentlest crunch. The buttery flavor melts slowly, followed by a hint of honey and vanilla. Nothing feels rushed, even this most extremely calm voice. A narrow window above the sink looks out toward the forest. The glass has gathered delicate crystals of frost. They spread across the edges like tiny fern leaves. No two patterns are alike. Nature has quietly painted its own winter artwork. A wooden clock hangs on the opposite wall. Its hands move almost silently. There is no loud ticking, only a gentle reminder that the evening is unfolding at its own peaceful pace. Nearby, an old radio rests on an open shelf. It isn't playing music. It simply sits there. A quiet memory from another time. The cabin doesn't need background noise. The mountain has already provided its own. The whisper of the wind, the settling of old timber, the quiet breathing of the fire. Together, they create a melody that no instrument could imitate. You carry your tea back toward the living room. The warmth of the mug feels comforting in your hands. As you pass the window, you notice something new. The snowfall has stopped. The sky is perfectly clear. Moonlight now stretches across the hillside, making the fresh snow sparkle like tiny crystals. The landscape feels almost unreal, not because it is magical, because it is so wonderfully still. You pause, taking in the view one more time. Some evenings ask you to remember them. This one simply asks you to enjoy it. And without realizing it, you already are. Your tea has grown pleasantly warm, no longer steaming, just the perfect temperature for slow, thoughtful sips. You settle into the armchair beside the fireplace. The cushion gently sinks beneath your weight. The wool blanket feels soft against your shoulders. Its familiar warmth wraps around you without asking for anything in return. On the small table nearby, a simple oil lamp glows with a quiet flame. Its light is softer than the lamps around the room, almost golden, almost dreamlike. You reach for a small notebook resting beside the lamp. Its leather cover has softened with age. Inside, the pages are filled with handwritten notes. Some describe the changing seasons. Others tell quiet stories about snowy mornings, summer wildflowers, and evenings spent watching the mountains disappear beneath gentle mist. You read only a few lines, not to finish the journal, only to enjoy its peaceful company. After a while, you close it again. Some stories are best read slowly. A page today, another page tomorrow. Outside, the moon climbs a little higher above the trees. Its silver light reaches the edge of the porch, where fresh snow rests untouched. No footprints, no movement. Just a smooth blanket of white stretching into the forest. The fire has settled into glowing embers. Their gentle warmth continues to fill the room. There is no need to add another log. The cabin already holds everything you need. Comfort, quiet, warmth. You lean back in the chair. Your eyes wander toward the window. The mountain no longer feels distant. It feels familiar, as though you've known this peaceful place for much longer than a single evening. A quiet sense of belonging settles over you, not because anything extraordinary has happened, but because simple moments, shared with silence, often become the ones we remember most. You finish the last sip of your tea. The empty mug rests quietly on the table. The room grows even calmer as the evening deepens. Beyond the glass, the snow-covered forest waits beneath the moonlight. Its quiet beauty seems to invite you a little closer. Perhaps it's time to step outside for just a few peaceful moments. Not to explore, not to search, only to experience the stillness of a winter night beneath the stars. The warmth of the cabin will always be waiting. But first, the quiet mountain has one more story to share. You pull on your wool coat, its soft lining holds the last traces of warmth from inside the cabin. A knitted scarf rests comfortably around your neck. You slip on a pair of leather gloves. Then, with an easy motion, you open the front door. A cool breath of mountain air greets you. It isn't harsh. It feels fresh, clean, awakening. The wooden porch stretches quietly before you. Fresh snow rests along the railing like powdered sugar. A lantern beside the doorway casts a warm circle of light across the floorboards. Beyond that gentle glow, the night belongs to the mountains. You step onto the porch. The old wood gives the faintest creak beneath your boots. Then it becomes still again. You pause for a moment, not to admire one thing, but to take in everything at once. The sky above is perfectly clear. Thousands of stars scatter across the darkness. Some shine brightly. Others appear as tiny pinpoints, almost hidden among the endless night. The moon hangs low above the ridge. Its pale light spills across the valley, turning the snow into a quiet sea of silver. The trees seem almost sculpted from crystal. Every branch carries its own delicate layer of snow. Nothing stirs. No passing cars. No distant engines. No voices. Only the quiet language of winter. A faint breeze slips through the pine trees. It carries the clean scent of evergreen and frozen earth. Somewhere nearby, a wind chime moves ever so gently. Just one soft note. Then silence returns. You rest your hands on the porch railing. The smooth wood feels cool beneath your gloves. In the distance, rolling hills disappear beneath a blanket of moonlight. Their shapes soften as they fade into the horizon. The world seems endless, yet wonderfully peaceful. You realize how rarely life offers a moment like this. A moment with nothing to interrupt your thoughts, nothing to distract your eyes. Only open sky, snow-covered mountains, and the quiet gift of simply being here. You smile to yourself, not because something exciting has happened, but because peace, when we truly notice it, is quietly extraordinary. A narrow path begins at the edge of the porch. Fresh snow has softened its outline. Even so, the gentle curve is easy to follow. You take your first step. The snow gives way with the lightest crunch. Another step. Then another. The sound is quiet, almost comforting. The path winds between tall pines. Their branches stretch high above. forming a peaceful canopy against the star-filled sky. Here and there, a few snow crystals drift from the branches. They catch the moonlight for a heartbeat, then disappear into the white ground below. You notice how every tree is different. One grows perfectly straight. Another leans gently toward the valley. A third carries an old hollow in its trunk, where small woodland birds might rest when morning comes. Nature never repeats itself. That quiet variety makes the forest feel alive. As you continue walking, you reach a small clearing. The trees step back just enough to reveal the mountains beyond. Layer after layer of snowy peaks rests beneath the moonlight. Their edges are softened by distance. The view feels endless. A weathered wooden bench waits near the clearing. Its seat is covered with a thin blanket of snow. You brush away a small corner with your glove, then sit for a moment. The wood is cool beneath you. The air is still. A tiny snowflake lands on your sleeve. Its delicate shape shines for only a second before melting into a tiny drop of water. You smile. Some beautiful things are never meant to last. That is what makes them special. Above, a single shooting star glides quietly across the sky. It appears without warning, then gently fades into the darkness. You don't make a wish. This evening already feels complete. For a little while, you simply sit in silence. Watching the mountains, listening to the breeze, feeling completely present in the quiet beauty around you. And somehow, the stillness begins to settle inside you as well. You leave the little bench behind. The path becomes narrower. It bends gently through a cluster of young pine trees. Their branches are shorter here. Each one wears a soft coat of fresh snow. A few minutes later, you hear something unexpected. Not flowing water, not the wind, just a faint, delicate sound, like tiny pieces of glass touching one another. You follow the sound. Hidden beneath the trees, a small mountain stream comes into view. Most of it has frozen over. Clear ice stretches from one bank to the other. Beneath the surface, smooth stones rest quietly where the water slowed before winter arrived. Near the edges, a thin ribbon of water still moves. Slowly, patiently. Its gentle murmur is almost impossible to hear. Yet in the silence of the forest, it feels perfectly at home. A simple wooden bridge crosses the stream. The handrails are dusted with snow. Tiny icicles hang beneath them. Each one catches the moonlight, glowing like delicate crystal. You step onto the bridge. The old timber feels solid beneath your boots. You pause halfway across, looking down through the clear ice. Tiny air bubbles are trapped below the surface, each one perfectly still, like little moments of time, preserved until spring. The air feels cool against your cheeks, but it isn't uncomfortable. It carries the clean scent of snow, mixed with the quiet freshness of the forest. Somewhere above, an owl calls softly. Only once. The sound drifts through the trees, then fades into the distance. Silence returns. Not empty silence, living silence. The kind that allows every small detail to be noticed. A single snowflake lands on the bridge beside you. Then another. The snowfall has quietly begun again. Gentle, almost weightless. You rest your hands lightly on the railing, watching the first flakes settle upon the ice. Winter asks for nothing. It simply arrives, bringing stillness wherever it goes. For a little while, you remain exactly where you are, watching, listening, enjoying a moment that never needed words to become memorable. You leave the little bridge behind. The narrow trail curves gently uphill. Fresh snow has already begun to soften your footprints. Soon, they will disappear completely. The thought doesn't feel sad. It feels peaceful. The mountain keeps no record of who has passed through. It simply welcomes each visitor, one quiet evening at a time. As you continue walking, you notice a cluster of young birch trees. Their white trunks glow softly beneath the moonlight. The dark markings on the bark create delicate patterns, like careful brushstrokes on fresh paper. A gentle breeze stirs the highest branches. A light dusting of snow drifts down around you, not enough to cover the path, just enough to sparkle for a few seconds before settling into place. At the edge of the trail, a weathered wooden sign points toward an old hiking route. The lettering has faded over the years. Only a few carved letters remain. You wonder how many travelers have paused here, just as you have tonight. Perhaps they also stood quietly, listening to the forest. Perhaps they also found comfort in its stillness. The path widens again. Ahead, the cabin begins to appear between the trees. Its windows glow softly against the winter landscape. From this distance, the warm light feels less like a house and more like a quiet promise. You don't hurry toward it. There is no reason to. The journey back is just as peaceful as the walk away. Halfway along the path, You stop one last time. Behind you, the forest stretches into gentle darkness. Ahead, the welcoming light waits patiently. For a moment, you stand between the two, the quiet wilderness and the comfort of home. Both beautiful, both offering a different kind of peace. You take one final look at the snowy trees. Their branches shimmer beneath the moon. The night feels calm, complete. As you turn toward the cabin, a warm glow spills gently across the snow from the porch lantern. The light stretches across the path, guiding you through the final few steps of your evening walk. Without a sound, you make your way home. The porch steps welcome you once again. A fresh layer of snow has settled across the railing. Only the gentle glow of the lantern has remained unchanged. You brush a little snow from your sleeve. Tiny crystals catch the light, then quietly disappear. The front door opens with ease. A gentle wave of warmth greets you. Not suddenly, just enough to make your shoulders relax. You hang your coat beside the door. Your scarf follows. The leather gloves rest neatly on a small wooden shelf. Everything returns to its place, just as the evening seems to have found its own quiet rhythm. The kettle sits waiting on the stove. You pour a little hot water into your mug. This time, you choose a calming blend of chamomile and lavender. The delicate fragrance rises with the steam. Soft, floral, comforting. You carry the mug upstairs. The staircase creaks ever so gently beneath your steps. Old wood has its own quiet voice, never loud, always familiar. At the top of the stairs, a small window looks out across the mountains. The snowfall has begun again. Gentle flakes drift through the moonlight, moving so slowly that they almost seem to float. You pause there for a moment, not to admire the view, but simply to share one last peaceful moment with the winter night. Then, you continue down the hallway. A quiet bedroom waits at the very end. Its door stands slightly open. A warm glow spills softly across the wooden floor. Tomorrow can wait. The mountain will still be here. The snow will still blanket the trees. The stars will still cross the winter sky. But tonight, there is only warmth, only quiet, and the comforting promise of a peaceful night's rest. You gently step into the room, leaving the silent mountains behind, while carrying their calmness with you. Outside, winter continues its slow, beautiful dance beneath the stars. Inside, the evening becomes even quieter. The night is deepening, and somewhere within the gentle stillness of the cabin, sleep begins to feel wonderfully close. The bedroom is simple, quiet, comfortable. Sloping wooden ceilings follow the shape of the roof. Heavy beams stretch from one wall to the other, their rich cedar color glowing gently beneath a bedside lamp. The room feels peaceful, not carefully decorated, simply lived in. A wide bed rests beneath the window. Layers of soft blankets are folded neatly across it. Cream, deep green, and a touch of warm charcoal gray. They look wonderfully inviting. Beside the bed, a small nightstand holds an old ceramic lamp. Its linen shade fills the room with a gentle amber glow. Next to it, a tiny glass vase holds dried lavender. Its delicate fragrance lingers quietly in the air. You open the window, just an inch, only enough to welcome the fresh mountain breeze. Cool air drifts inside. It carries the clean scent of pine, snow, and distant evergreens. The curtains move softly, almost like a slow breath. You close the window again. The room feels perfectly balanced, fresh, warm, comfortable. Across from the bed, a handcrafted quilt hangs on the wall. Every square tells its own quiet story. Deep blue fabric reminds you of the winter sky. Soft white stitching echoes freshly fallen snow. Forest green patches resemble the towering pines outside. Nothing about it is perfect. That is exactly what makes it beautiful. A small wooden chest sits at the foot of the bed. Its brass corners have grown smooth with age. Inside, you discover an extra wool blanket, a knitted pair of socks, and an old photograph tucked between neatly folded linens. The picture shows the cabin many winters ago. The trees were smaller then. The porch looked new. Yet the mountains in the distance appear exactly the same. Some things quietly change, others patiently remain. You place the photograph back where you found it, closing the lid with gentle care. Some memories belong exactly where they have rested for years. You turn toward the window once more. Beyond the glass, snowflakes drift lazily beneath the moonlight. No wind, no hurry. Just the quiet rhythm of another peaceful winter night. You sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress settles softly beneath you. The blankets feel warm beneath your fingertips. Every detail in the room seems designed for one simple purpose: to help the world slow down, one peaceful moment at a time. Near the window, a small reading corner waits quietly. A high-backed chair rests beside a tall bookshelf. Its cushion is soft, with years of gentle use. A wool throw is folded neatly across one arm. The fabric feels warm and comforting beneath your fingertips. A narrow shelf above the chair holds only a few books. Not dozens, just enough for many peaceful evenings. One tells the story of mountain wildflowers. Another is filled with watercolor paintings of distant valleys. A third is a collection of quiet reflections written by travelers who once wandered through snowy landscapes, much like this one. You choose the smallest book. Its cover is wrapped in faded blue linen. The pages have turned the gentle color of old parchment. When you open it, a pressed pine needle rests between two chapters, perfectly preserved. Its fresh green has softened with time, yet its delicate shape remains unchanged. You smile. Someone placed it there many winters ago, perhaps to remember a quiet walk, perhaps simply because it felt beautiful. You read a page, then another. There is no exciting adventure, no mystery waiting to be solved, only gentle observations about changing seasons, morning birdsong, and evenings spent listening to snowfall beyond wooden walls. The words ask nothing of you. They simply keep you company. After a few peaceful minutes, you close the book. The story doesn't need to be finished tonight. Some books become even more special when a few pages are saved for another evening. You place it carefully back on the shelf. The room is wonderfully quiet. Only the soft rustle of the curtains reminds you that a light breeze still moves outside. Moonlight slips gently through the window. It settles across the wooden floor, creating pale silver shapes between the beams of warm lamplight. Light and shadow rest together in perfect balance, neither asking to be noticed, yet both quietly beautiful. You settle into the chair for one last moment, not reading, not thinking, simply enjoying the rare comfort of doing nothing at all. The quiet feels generous, as though the cabin has given you permission to let the day drift peacefully away. You leave the reading corner behind. The room is quiet once more. Your footsteps are slow, almost effortless. Near the bed, a wide window stretches from waist height to the ceiling. The glass is perfectly clear. Beyond it, the mountains rest beneath the peaceful glow of the moon. Fresh snow continues to drift through the night. Each snowflake follows its own gentle path. None of them hurry. None of them compete. They simply float, wherever the winter breeze chooses to carry them. A single candle burns on the windowsill. Its tiny flame moves ever so slightly, not from the wind, only from the gentle warmth of the room. The light reflects softly against the glass. For a moment, the mountains and the candlelight seem to exist together, one inside, one beyond the window, both equally peaceful. You draw the curtains halfway closed, not to hide the view, only to make the room feel a little cozier. Moonlight still slips through the soft linen fabric. It paints quiet silver patterns across the blankets. You rest your hand upon the quilt. Its stitching is thick and carefully made. Each thread carries the patience of careful hands. You wonder how many winters it has offered comfort. How many peaceful nights have begun beneath its warmth. Some questions never need an answer. Simply wondering is enough. The room has become wonderfully still. Not separated from it, only sheltered within it. You step onto the little balcony. The wooden floor is dusted with a light layer of snow. Above you, the roof stretches outward, protecting the space from the falling flakes. A simple lantern hangs from one of the beams. Its warm glow reaches only a few feet. Beyond that, the mountains belong entirely to the moon. The valley below is silent. No lights move through the distance. No roads interrupt the landscape. Only rolling hills, gentle forests, and quiet fields sleeping beneath winter's blanket. You rest your hands on the smooth railing. The wood is cool, polished by many seasons of snow, sunshine, and rain. Far below, a narrow river reflects a ribbon of moonlight. Its surface moves so slowly that it almost appears still. Now and then, a faint shimmer travels across the water, before quietly fading into the darkness. You remain there for another peaceful minute, not searching for anything, simply allowing the silence to settle around you. It asks nothing in return. It simply exists, just as the mountains have done, through countless winters before this one. At last, you step back inside. The balcony door closes with a gentle click. The room becomes warm again. The quiet remains. You pull the curtains together. Only a narrow ribbon of moonlight slips between the fabric. It rests softly across the wooden floor, like a final good night from the winter sky. The blankets wait patiently. The pillow looks impossibly inviting. The evening has become wonderfully still. And little by little, you can feel your thoughts growing lighter, slower, calmer, as though the mountain itself is gently reminding you that rest is one of life's simplest gifts. You turn down the bedside lamp. Its golden light becomes softer, until it is little more than a gentle glow. The room feels different now, quieter, more peaceful. The blankets fall naturally around you. Warm and comfortably heavy. The pillow welcomes you with quiet softness. You settle into a position that feels just right. Outside, snow continues its slow journey through the night. You cannot hear each snowflake, yet somehow you know they are there, drifting silently through the moonlight, covering the mountains, one delicate layer at a time. The cabin seems to breathe with the night, a quiet settling of old timber, the faint whisper of the wind around the roof. Nothing more, nothing less. Every sound belongs here. Your eyes wander toward the narrow opening between the curtains. One bright star is still visible, steady, patient, unchanging. It has watched over these mountains long before this cabin was built, long before tonight, and it will continue shining long after morning arrives. There is something comforting about that thought. Some things in life remain constant, quietly waiting, asking for nothing, only offering their gentle presence. You close your eyes for a moment, not to fall asleep just yet, only to enjoy the stillness, the warmth of the room, the softness of the blankets, the peaceful rhythm of the mountain night. When you open your eyes again, the little star is still there, smiling gently through the window. You smile back without a word, without a thought, simply grateful to be exactly where you are, safe, warm, at peace. The evening has slowly carried you here, one quiet step after another. And now, the deepest, calmest part of the journey is ready to begin. The cabin has grown wonderfully still. Outside, winter quietly watches over the mountains. Inside, every breath feels a little slower, every thought a little lighter. And as the night gently unfolds, sleep begins to feel closer than ever before. The room has grown wonderfully quiet. The little lamp now gives only the softest glow. Its warm light rests gently upon the wooden walls. The shadows have become smooth, gentle, comforting. You slip beneath the blankets. They settle naturally around you. holding just enough warmth to make the cool winter night feel far away. The pillow feels wonderfully soft. The mattress welcomes you without a sound. Everything is exactly as it should be. Beyond the curtains, snow continues to fall. Not quickly, not heavily, just a slow, steady rhythm, as though the mountain has all the time in the world. A faint breeze brushes across the roof. It comes and goes so gently that it feels more like a whisper than the wind. The old cabin answers with the quietest creak, not a sound to disturb the silence, only a gentle reminder that this little home has stood through many peaceful winters. You listen for a while. The breeze, the settling timber, the distant hush of falling snow. Together, they become the evening's quiet lullaby. Your thoughts begin to slow, like snowflakes drifting through still air. Never hurried, never crowded. Each one appearing softly before gently floating away. The day no longer asks anything of you. Tomorrow can wait patiently beyond the mountains. Tonight belongs only to quiet moments, warm blankets, gentle silence, and the comforting feeling of being completely at home. Your breathing becomes calm, almost without noticing, matching the peaceful rhythm of the winter night beyond the window. Somewhere outside, fresh snow settles upon the branches of the pine trees. Branch after branch, layer after layer, until the forest seems wrapped in perfect stillness. The stars remain above the mountains, watching quietly, just as they always have. You rest a little deeper into the pillow. The room feels safe. The mountain feels peaceful. And the night seems to grow softer with every passing moment. There is nothing left to do. Nowhere left to go. Only the quiet comfort of this little cabin, gently carrying you toward a deep, restful sleep. The night moves quietly onward, so quietly that time almost seems to disappear. The little lamp has become even softer. Its gentle glow barely reaches the far corner of the room. That is enough. The darkness feels peaceful, never empty, never lonely, only calm. Outside, the snowfall has become lighter. Each snowflake drifts with quiet patience, finding its own place upon the mountainside, upon the rooftops, upon the waiting branches of the pines. Every corner of the landscape grows softer beneath its gentle touch. You imagine the forest beyond the cabin, the winding path you followed earlier, now hidden beneath a fresh blanket of snow. The little wooden bridge resting silently above the frozen stream. The weathered bench in the clearing. The quiet trail leading home. Everything is still there, resting peacefully beneath the winter sky. nothing has been lost. The mountain is simply sleeping, just as the birds rest quietly among the trees, just as the stream dreams beneath its clear blanket of ice. The whole valley seems to share the same quiet rhythm. Inside the cabin, the warmth remains steady. The blankets hold you comfortably. The pillow gently supports your head. The air carries the faint scent of cedar and lavender, a peaceful fragrance, one that belongs only to quiet evenings like this. The silence no longer feels like the absence of sound. It feels complete, filled with small, comforting moments. The whisper of the breeze, the gentle settling of old wood, the quiet presence of the mountains beyond the window. These are not sounds asking for attention. They are simply reminders that the world continues peacefully, even while you rest. Your eyelids begin to feel pleasantly heavy. Not suddenly, only little by little, as naturally as evening becomes night, as naturally as snow settles upon the forest. The cabin seems to breathe with slow, quiet patience, and without realizing it, you begin to follow that gentle rhythm too. One peaceful breath, one peaceful moment, one peaceful dream, waiting just beyond the quiet edge of sleep. The cabin rests peacefully beneath the snowy roof. Every room has grown quiet. The kitchen waits in silence. The little reading chair stands beside the window. The staircase has settled for the night. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The moon continues its slow journey across the sky. Its gentle light slips through the narrow opening in the curtains. A pale silver glow rests upon the floor. It never asks to be noticed, yet it quietly changes the room. The familiar shapes become softer, the corners gentler. The whole cabin seems wrapped in a peaceful dream. Outside, the pine trees stand like quiet guardians. Their branches hold the fresh snow with patient grace. From time to time, a few delicate flakes drift from the highest limbs. They fall without a sound, returning gently to the forest floor. Far beyond the valley, the mountains watch over the sleeping landscape. They have witnessed countless winters, countless peaceful nights, and somehow that quiet sense of timelessness brings comfort. You are only passing through this evening. The mountains remain steady, patient, always waiting for another snowfall. The blankets feel pleasantly warm. Their gentle weight invites every muscle to relax without effort. The cool night beyond the walls only makes the warmth inside feel even more comforting. A quiet feeling of gratitude settles over you, not for anything extraordinary, simply for this moment. A safe place, a peaceful night, the gentle company of falling snow. Sometimes, life offers its greatest comforts in the simplest ways. A warm room, a quiet view, a calm heart. Nothing more is needed. The mountains will still be waiting when the first light touches their snowy peaks. There is no need to think about tomorrow. It will arrive in its own time. For now, the night asks only one gentle thing: to let yourself drift as quietly as the snow outside, toward dreams as peaceful as the mountains beneath the winter moon. The night has settled completely. The world beyond the cabin is wrapped in quiet snow. Even the wind has grown gentle. It brushes softly across the mountainside, then slips peacefully through the tall pines. Inside, the warmth remains steady. The blankets rise and fall ever so slightly. The room feels calm, almost timeless. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell marks another quiet hour. Its sound is soft, carried gently through the cold mountain air. It fades almost as soon as it arrives, leaving the silence untouched. The shadows around the room become smooth and comforting. Nothing feels hidden. Everything simply grows quieter. You think of the journey that brought you here, the winding mountain road, the glowing cabin waiting among the trees, the peaceful walk beneath the stars, the frozen stream resting under clear ice. Each moment now feels like a page in a favorite story, one that never needed excitement, only quiet beauty. Outside, fresh snow settles across the porch. By morning, every footprint will have disappeared. The path will look untouched once again, ready to welcome another peaceful evening, another quiet traveler, another gentle story. The thought brings a quiet smile. Some places never ask us to stay forever. They simply remind us that peace is always waiting, whenever we choose to slow down. The room grows even stiller. The air carries only the faint scent of cedar, lavender, and warm wood. They blend together so naturally. That they almost become part of the silence itself. Your thoughts drift like soft clouds across a winter sky, unhurried, weightless, free to come and go. There is nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to solve. Only the quiet comfort of this snowy mountain cabin. Only the gentle promise of a peaceful night. And somewhere beyond waking, dreams begin to gather, as softly and as silently as snow falling through the moonlight. The mountain keeps its quiet watch. The snow continues to fall, slowly, patiently, without asking anything of the world below. Inside the cabin, the last gentle glow of the lamp fades into the warmth of the room. Everything has become wonderfully still. The blankets rest softly around you. The pillow feels cool on one side, warm on the other, perfectly comfortable. Beyond the curtains, the stars remain high above the silent peaks. One by one, they continue their timeless journey across the winter sky. The forest below sleeps peacefully. The frozen stream waits quietly for spring. The little bridge rests beneath its blanket of snow, and the winding path through the pines has already begun to disappear beneath fresh flakes. Morning will come. The mountains know that. The trees know that. But there is no need to hurry toward it. Night still has many quiet hours to offer. The cabin seems to hold them gently, like a treasured secret. The warmth, the silence, the feeling of complete safety. You carry those simple gifts with you now, not only for tonight, but whenever you remember this peaceful place. Perhaps someday you'll find yourself returning, following the same quiet road, watching the same snow drift through the pines, finding the same warm light waiting in the distance. The cabin will be here, just as welcoming, just as peaceful. Until then, it quietly keeps its place among the mountains, a small light in a great wilderness, a gentle reminder that somewhere in the world there is always a quiet place waiting. The snow falls, the mountains rest, the stars shine, and the peaceful little cabin grows silent once more. May your dreams be as gentle as fresh snow settling across the pines. May your rest be as deep as the quiet valley beneath the winter moon. And may this peaceful mountain always remain a place you can return to whenever your heart longs for stillness. Good night.